This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. Today I want to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to point at some inflation stuff once more. Then we're going to spend the bulk of today looking at Bitcoin. And today especially what I want to point out to you is I have found a point at the chart at which we can draw a line in the sand and say Camel is selling spot if we trade below this level. Okay, I have found that level. I'm going to set this invalidation for the first time in this cycle. I'm going to justify to you exactly why I'm going to be approaching the market like this. And then, of course, we'll look at some charts and some other markets as always, and I'll show you how I'm getting ready to position as a professional swing trader. Now, before we get into today's episode, I wanted to ask to make a deal with you guys, particularly those of you that are unsubscribed or new to the channel. I'm going to ask that you hit subscribe, but not just because I'm asking you to, but because this is going to be a very, very important couple of months going forward. If you're unaware, on this channel, we operate with full transparency in our trading. I call out all of my trades ahead of time. I show you where the stop loss is. I make the invalidation and the stop loss level public so that I can't possibly be wrong without everyone knowing about it. And I'm about to tell you a couple of things that I guarantee you will not have ever heard another YouTuber say ever in the history of YouTube traders, okay? So far, we are a full month into the year. We are now in February, as I'm sure you're well aware. And I am sat at break even. I've made no money in my trading account, okay? So why am I telling you this? Because number one, we operate with full transparency. But number two, because I know what comes next, okay? I have been doing this long enough to know that we are setting up to see Camel start to really outperform absolutely every man and his dog in this market. So here's the deal, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly how I've been positioned, why. Then I'm going to show you exactly what I'm looking to get underneath in terms of positions going into the end of this month. And in exchange for that, I would like you to subscribe, follow along, watch me get underneath these cycle lows, watch me extract what I believe will be multiple hundreds of percent out of this market over the coming couple of months. And the deal is, if I hold up on my end of the deal, if I manage to execute on this plan, then you stay subscribed. And if I don't, then you can, of course, unsubscribe after I pay another set of stop losses. I'm confident that's not going to happen, as ever, okay? We're going to continue to operate with full transparency. In case you're wondering, how on earth is this guy not made any money in the first part of the year? Okay, well, the reality is, I don't think that many people could have, to be totally honest with you. I really don't think most people have been making money this year. I just think the reality is most people would never admit to it. Again, operating with full transparency, I positioned myself across the cryptocurrency market, had to pay a couple of stops there, and then I also positioned myself across the precious metal markets, and those trades have been profitable. And currently, as it stands, we're right around break even. Going into the end of the month, I'm imagining that we're either going to have to cut some trades around break even or pay some more stops before we get to a weekly cycle low. And then out of that weekly cycle low, as I said earlier, I fully expect to be hitting multiple hundreds of percent out of that weekly cycle low. And very quickly, my lackluster break-even performance, I expect to leapfrog me above every single hedge fund and institutional investment platform out there. So I know it's some bold claims, okay? But believe it or not, this is just what we do here. We find the cycle lows and we outperform absolutely everyone. So please, please, please do hit that subscribe button, follow along, watch me do this in real time, watch me call the trades out ahead of time, and once we get underneath those trades, I will make the stop loss levels public so that I can't possibly cheat it and tell you I told you so after the fact, like I believe most YouTube traders do. Now, let's get into today's episode. I'm seeing an awful lot of this in my comments, that people think Trump or tariffs are inflationary, okay? But they're not. They're much more like a tax. A one-time price increase is not the same as consistently inflationary pressures causing multiple upticks in pricing. So if you don't understand this, please take a few hours to go and study inflation, debasement, velocity, supply and demand. I promise you it'll be worth your time. And by the time you're done with it, you will know more than 90% of market participants, because I can guarantee you 90% of people are not going to put in any time here. They're just going to continue to type in the comment section, Trump tariffs are inflationary, bro. Okay, but I assure you, they're not. Fitting in with this theme of inflation, we can see right here, big downside price action in the Trueflation data, now at 2.2%, okay? This is significant. The Camel Crew has been well on top of this. Expect disinflation to continue. This is not nothing at the hard right edge. And again, because the market is wrong about tariffs being inflationary, we are going to continue to see disinflation take hold. Now, moving into the things people actually care about, i.e. Bitcoin, crypto, et al. Understand this, there's nothing new going on here. Big players are buying, small players are selling. So it's always the loud people that want to type in the comments that 108k was the top, but those same people will call in 70k the top and 50k the top and 35k the top. And right now we're seeing the exact same thing we've been seeing for a very, very long time. Ever since that weekly cycle low at around 50k, Large investors are buying every single dip, and retail are panicking and calling early tops. Note the timing as well. They are starting to call tops and panic sell as we are getting ever closer, just weeks away now from finding a weekly cycle low where I expect the price to double. And I think some of the saltiness, some of the sourness in this space, some of the anger and bitterness that we're observing at the moment is because most people position themselves via the altcoin market, and that continues to be the wrong posture, broadly speaking. I know there's a handful of alts that have done very, very well. I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm just saying, expect this to continue until around 70%. So the big question, of course, is where are we going to stop, right? How much lower have we got to go? Is this dip almost over? Have we got another puke to come? Well, according to the short-term holder cost basis, which currently sits at 92k, we're actually not that far away from probably finding a bottom. You can see this dotted line is the short-term holder cost basis, and we don't spend very much time underneath it. And here's the key part. When we do trade underneath it, we don't go significantly underneath it. So I would say, based on this absolute worst case scenario, we're probably looking at something like 70-ish K, absolute worst case scenario, and that would just be a back test of this range. I actually don't think we're going to go all the way back there, and I'll show you why in the next chart. And it's in this part of today's episode that I think I provide an edge over most market participants and over most YouTubers and other traders out there. Here's how I see Bitcoin at the moment. We know, because we've been talking about it for weeks, that we have got late February, early March, a cycle low in play. We believe, especially on this channel, that early March or potentially late February timeframe is not only going to be a daily cycle low, but also a weekly cycle low. Now, from that weekly cycle low, you will see me go long and you will see me aim for a double in the price of Bitcoin. As per my comments at the start of the video, you'll also see me extract additional gains from the market using crypto stocks. And we'll pause here just to familiarize ourselves with this concept. Every one of these blue arrows denotes a weekly cycle low. And what happens after every single one is we get, roughly speaking, a double in the price. 94%, 98%, 90%, 120%. Notice how each one of these weekly cycle lows is spaced equidistantly apart. That's what these arcs show. These arcs are fixed length, and you can see approximately every 29 weeks, we get a weekly cycle low show up for Bitcoin. And like I said, out of that weekly cycle low, we tend to see a double in the price. So for a while now, we've been hypothesizing that we're going to need to continue to chop around in here till we get to that late February, early March timeframe, and then we're going to be looking for a double to come in. If that double occurs from about 90k, then of course the target would be about 180k. If it was to come all the way back down to 75k, then needless to say, we would be targeting around 150k. So whilst performance has been a little slow for the first month or two of the year, of course that's because we've been in a range, okay, and Camel tends to do best when Bitcoin is trending hard to the upside. So that's the good news, okay? That's the strategy. We're going to wait until we get to our cycle lows. Once we get here, you're going to see Camel go long. As always, we'll make the stop loss level public. We'll get some additional exposure and extra beta out of the crypto-related equities, and then we will look to see this double come in from here. But I also think it's super important to acknowledge where we are in the larger 4-year cycle, because once this low is in, once this cycle low has formed, any failed cycle from there will imply that we are trading lower into the next weekly cycle, which isn't due until October. And at that point, it will be way too late in the major 4-year cycle to see new highs come in. So this weekly cycle low is not only the final opportunity for me to go long, but it is also bull market invalidation for me. And keep in mind, it's been an easy ride until now, okay? But the time to lock in has arrived. So let me explain this just so we're really, really clear. In the bull case, we are going to find this weekly cycle low and double, happy days, okay? Bull market is alive and well. We'll catch this cycle low as we always do in real time, and we'll extract the profit using the double. But of course, it's a market. Anything and everything is on the table. If we come down here and form a daily cycle low, you will see me draw a line at that daily cycle low and the weekly cycle low and use this as bull market invalidation. Because if what we get is a left translated cycle out of here, okay, a rollover and a fail, at this point, the failed cycle will tell us that we are in a bearish formation until the next weekly cycle low time frame, which isn't due until October of 2025. So any kind of cycle failure here, should it occur, would tell us we're going to trade lower all the way into the October time frame. And by then, even if we're to double from here, there's not enough time left in the major 4-year cycle before we get into that 2026 window where we need to see the 12-month decline into the 4-year cycle low. So not only am I extremely excited about having this opportunity to get underneath this weekly cycle low and catch what I believe will be a double to around 180k, but we have also reached the time in the major 4-year cycle where, as I said, we're going to use this weekly cycle low as bull market invalidation. If we are still in a bull market, Bitcoin has absolutely no business trading below that weekly cycle once it is in. Once this cycle low is in, we should be up only, and we should be looking to go increasingly steeper. 3rd and 4th blow off top angles to the upside should be the only expectation here. Any kind of lackluster bounce, certainly any failed cycles, and you will see me lighten up spot. because we, objectively speaking, will be super late in the 4-year cycle. As I said earlier, a failed cycle here implies we trade down into the October cycle low, and at that point, it seems only reasonable to start to call a Q1 top as the base case. So wherever this cycle low forms, you'll see me draw a line, you'll see me use that for bull market invalidation, and if that cycle is to fail, you will see me lighten up my spot position here that we have held publicly since the lows. So absolutely wild times, right? Wild times. But at the same time, this is the best kind of situation we can hope for, because we've got a very, very binary setup here. Weekly cycle low and double if the thing is bullish, if the bull market has legs, and we'll catch that in real time as always. And once that cycle low is in, we draw a line underneath it and say any trade below there, and it is likely that that really was the top for Bitcoin. Time to exit here and expect much, much, much lower prices. So super, super, super wild times to be alive. Like I said, I've been talking about this for weeks, right? That on a balanced probabilities, we probably needed to chop sideways, find a daily and weekly cycle low and go. And out of there, like I said a million times, we'll catch that. We'll exploit it via the crypto-related equities. So make sure you're subscribed and you follow along to see me do this in real time. Notice how the dollar got a massive, massive pop. They're going to use this tariff idea as a knee-jerk reaction, I'm sure. I'm sure we're going to see some volatility. We're already seeing some volatility with the VIX above 20. But as we've been talking about for a while now, look for the lower high to come in, look for the top in the weekly cycle, and then that sets up a decline into a weekly cycle low, which of course should ignite some risk on across the board. If, however, we're going to come up here and make a higher high, then expect to see the continuation of the yellow squiggle and a whole heap of deflationary, or disinflationary, I should say, type pressures coming in. Gold continues to carry us at the moment. We've been conquering this in the level 3 member section. We've got positions in silver, mining stocks, and we've got a position in SilJ at the moment from trading accounts, so happy days there. This continues to pay us. And in the stock market, we've been talking about this in the member section and on the main channel on Saturday. Again, it kind of speaks to wanting to do something like Bitcoin, right? Trade around in here and then look to explode out of this daily cycle low. We may have to come back down into some gap fill areas into that half cycle low timing window, and then you may even see me get some positions on out of here. I wouldn't be surprised at all, to be honest. As ever, I'm in no rush, okay? Taking this thing one day at a time, and we will see what the market can give. So super exciting times. May well be a little bit boring for somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 weeks as Bitcoin approaches its cycle low window. But as always, we're going to keep doing Camel Crew things. So I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you are looking forward to the volatility as much as I am. And in the meantime, I hope you're doing well in life. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a badass, oh yes indeed. Camel Finance got the markets key. Taking us normies on a bump.